Thank you for watching the Small Business Development Series. This webinar series is presented by the district through a grant from the Illinois Main Street Program.
Hi, I'm Detective VanderBol with the Quincy, Illinois Police Department, here to talk to you about business safety and security. Depending on the age and the life experiences of your employees, they may not think of things that I'm going to point out in the next, hopefully it's just 15 minutes. The best thing to do is to educate your employees through training videos. I always tell people that it's best to visualize a situation, and then if you with our police trainings, if you visualize a situation, then your body and your mind has been through it before, even though it's something that didn't really happen. Your body doesn't know the difference. So if somebody visualizes the situation, then they're better prepared for it when it really happens. Talk about the policies. One of the main things that we as a police department have a problem with is when employees don't follow the policies that are already set forth, like checking identification for taking in checks or credit cards. My suggestion would be to make a policy to put the driver's license number on the checks, to make sure that and also to make sure that the image on the driver's license or the identification card that the person shows you matches the person. There's a lot of times that I watch surveillance videos where the employee is writing down the license number because it's what they're told to do, but the whole time they're looking down and they never compare the picture on the license or the ID to the person that's actually giving the check. A lot of times I see primarily younger employees get really nervous when there's a long line because they're worried about being in trouble, and they start ignoring policies that are set forth because they're getting rushed. So I would tell them to ignore the long lines and to just do their job. As far as management, I would tell you guys to do routine checks to make sure that the policies are being followed. Like I said, there's a lot of investigations that I do that if the policies were followed, the investigation wouldn't have to be. As far as counterfeit money is generally different. It'll feel different than real money. A lot of times people will put maybe pay with $100 worth of 20s, and we'll put one fake or counterfeit $20 bill in the middle, and then you don't touch that bill as well as you do the first one and the last one. So make sure that employees manipulate every single bill. If the bills appear to have a counterfeit pin mark on them, encourage your employees to mark it with the pin again, because a lot of counterfeiters are starting to mark the bills with a different pin and make it look like they've already been marked with a counterfeit pin. And then to tell the employees to familiarize yourself with each denomination so you have a general sense of what they're supposed to look like. Surveillance cameras and video. Be aware of where the camera locations are, and then even more important than that is to be aware of where they're not. So if you see somebody hanging out in an area that's not being recorded, pay extra attention to that. Do routine checks of the cameras to make sure that the camera views are not being blocked by merchandise or different vendors that come into your business. They may, without realizing it, block the view that you may have wanted. Make sure that somebody at the business knows how to download the video and the players, that the video can be viewed on alternate sources. A lot of times we'll get video, but we won't have the player attached, so we won't have a way to play the video. Make sure that there's plenty of hard drive space as well, and the reason for that is if you don't have enough hard drive space, you may only have video for the past 3 days instead of at least 2 months worth of video storage. There's a lot of times that your loss prevention office or the law enforcement department that's investigating the crime, or whatever you want to look at, may not get the information until several weeks or a couple months later. And then, as the business owner, check the camera quality. There's several times that I've done investigations where the business owner looks at the quality, camera quality after a serious incident happens at their business, and then they wish that they had a better camera. Don't make yourselves an easy target. Ways you can prevent that are to have adequate lighting at all the exterior doors. If the employees are closing by themselves late at night, have him or her move their vehicle to the front of the store earlier in the day when other employees are still present. Just makes it safer for them. Schedule, if possible, schedule 2 employees to close the business and have them walk out together. And then this is good for everybody to do, day or night, is to have your keys in your hands when you're going to the vehicle so that you're ready to go as soon as you get to your vehicle, instead of potentially fumbling for keys. If you think somebody is casing the business, document what you'd observed. It may not be anything, but it's better to document it anyway. Be aware of customers who come back just before closing. I had a previous investigation where some employees or some people had come in just before closing and were wanting to check out some jewelry. Well, they had been in earlier in the day checking out the jewelry, and then came in approximately 5 minutes before the business closed, and then they took off with the jewelry and stole it. Don't be afraid to tell people like that just that you're closing up and that you'll take care of them the next day. They may not be happy about it, but it's a judgment call. So basically, don't be afraid to refuse services to people if you feel like something's suspicious. And then definitely pay attention to that feeling that something's not right, or when the hair on the back of your neck is starting to stand up. There's usually a reason for it. As far as safes inside of the businesses, if you're using one, make sure you have a camera on that safe if possible. Make sure that the employees aren't able to open the safe. Have it set up where they can drop money into the top of the safe, but not the ability to open it. And then if they do not have the ability to open it, make sure that you put up a sign saying that, because that sign alone may prevent somebody from trying to rob the business. When you're handling money, be aware of quick change schemes. Make sure that the people handling the money are taking their time, and then take care of one thing at a time. If the person starts changing the kind of change that they want or the denominations that they want, finish the transaction as you had started it, and then make different change for them as a whole separate transaction. And then never leave the cash drawer open longer than necessary, and obviously do not move away from the drawer if it's open. I see that a lot of times where somebody will reach for something else and turn their back to the cash drawer. Employee theft, make sure that you document. It's always important to document everything. Document whatever made you suspect the employee theft. And if you're not the owner, contact your supervisor, loss prevention officer as soon as possible. As far as management is concerned, make sure that you contact the police early in the investigation to coordinate with them on how to proceed, and if possible, get the police involved before you terminate the employee. Again, that's if it's possible. Retail theft, should be aware that the person that you suspect has to pass the last point of sale in order for it to be retail theft. Develop some kind of business policy about confronting suspects. That's going to have to be each business's decision on how they want to proceed with that. Be observant and write down as many details as possible, like hair color, your height, facial hair. There's numerous things that you need to be aware of, but try to focus on at least a couple of those. And if possible, and you're able to, watch how the suspect leaves. If they leave on foot, document the direction that they left. If they leave by vehicle, if you can, get the kind of vehicle it is, the color, license plate, etc. On identity theft, check the credit cards for a signature. Ask for a driver's license or an ID card. If the credit cards don't have a signature and they just say check ID, that's fine. Just go ahead and check the ID and make sure that the name is the same on both. As far as checks, make sure that the ID or the driver's license has the same name and address as the check. And if it's different, make sure you note it on the check or write in the other address. Another thing that needs to be done is to compare the signature on the ID with the signature that is on the check once they've completed it. Any problem at all with any of these things, in my opinion, is grounds to refuse the sale. Robbery, while these don't happen all the time, it is good to at least visualize the situation so that you're better prepared for it. In these cases, it's more important to be a good witness. Don't resist, and don't try to be coy and try to trick the person. Your life is more important than any money or merchandise. Be observant and write down as many details as possible as soon as the person leaves and it's safe to do so. Like I said before, the height, facial hair, missing teeth, braces, something a lot of people don't think about is the accent in their voice or the sound of their voice. If they speak with a lisp, or if even they are limping when they are leaving. And then definitely call 911 as soon as it is safe to do so. Online security, if the business is found to be the source of the debit cards being compromised, then stop using the debit cards and credit card transactions as soon as possible. You need to contact a professional company to ensure that the compromise is stopped and eradicated. I had one investigation where the company thought that they had fixed the problem and had utilized an internal person that knew about computers, and it was not fixed, and they actually had a whole second round of compromises. Always retype the addressee on emails, don't just reply. If you just hit reply, then the email could be compromised and you may not be sending the email to the person you thought it was. And then do not ever click on links in emails unless you are confident of the person that you're getting the email from. Make sure that your virus protection is up to date, and if something seems out of place.
Thank you for watching the Small Business Development Series. This webinar series is presented by the district through a grant from the Illinois Main Street program.